Let's look at factorising quadratics using a grid. I've made another video on factorising and solving quadratics without a grid, so you could take a look at that one. We've also got a video on expanding quadratics, so I recommend you watch that one as well. Example 1, factorise x squared minus 8x plus 7. With the grid method, the trick is that the diagonals in the grid will always multiply to give you the same thing. So you start by filling in the top left of the grid and the bottom right, and those two things come from the question. You then multiply those two things together. In this case, that would give us positive 7x squared. And now we need to think of two numbers which would multiply to give 7x squared, but at the same time add to give negative 8x. And in this case, that would be minus 7x and minus 1x. You stick those terms into your grid here, and then you factorize each row and column. Now you can start wherever you like, but if we start with the first row, we can take an x out because both x squared and minus 7x have x in common. And then an x would need to go up here to make x squared when you times, and a minus 7 would need to go here. Now if we look at the columns, x times minus 1 would give us minus 1x. And then just to check, minus 7 times minus 1 does give us plus 7, so that looks good. That means the answer is two brackets, first bracket x minus 7, second bracket x minus 1. And those come from here. They can go in either order. Example 2, factorise n squared minus 3n minus 18. So again, it's these two diagonals that are interesting here. Start by filling in the top left and the bottom right. Multiply those two things together, minus 18n squared. Now we've got to think of two numbers that multiply to give minus 18n squared, but at the same time add to give minus 3n. That's going to be minus 6n and plus 3n. We can stick those in the grid and then factorise each row and column. So this time I'll factorise the columns first. So in the first column, what do n squared and 3n have in common? That would be n. I could then look at the second column. What do minus 6n and minus 18 have in common? That would be minus 6. And then I can fill in the other two boxes. So n times n gives us n squared. And then n times minus 6 is also minus 6n, so that's good. And then n times positive 3 gives 3n, and positive 3 times negative 6 is minus 18. So as you can see, you can sort of fill in those pink boxes in whichever order you like, as long as it all works as a whole at the end. And then you can say what your answer is in either order, n minus 6, n plus 3, for example. And that's it. That's it for now. If you found this video useful, please do remember to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And do share this with anyone else you think might find it helpful. Thanks, and see you next time.